to the Bucket List Show. I'm Tammy Crandell with Journey Adventure Travel and Tours and Barron Real Estate, and I'm here with my co-host Rebecca Danise.
Hello.
And she is as well with Barron Real Estate, handling the property management end of things, which is great.
Yes.
And we have in-house, we are so fortunate to have him on occasion, Calvin Johnson with Visita Home Inspection and Services.
Yes, great.
So,
Glad to be here as always.
Right.
Yep.
Now, of course, we say this each time, but I want to make sure that we address what the intent of our show is.
Yeah.
And our show is intended to serve you so we can help you fill your bucket to live your most abundant life. And the way that we do that is by providing you with great, compelling content, things that you may not know about that are so important. And that's why we bring great guests like Calvin on the show. So thank you again, Calvin, for coming to see us.
Not a problem. Glad to be here. Glad to be here, always.
Now, we have covered some things, different types of inspections in the past, on how the different important inspections you should consider at a very high level. But we're going to cover today specifically and kind of nugget it down is that 4-point inspection that you provide and why that's so important. So we're going to break those down into little
Each
segments
category.
and we're going to talk about those today, and hopefully we can stress the importance of why you need to have that, whether you are a buyer, maybe you're a seller, and you want to make sure everything is quite right. So, so let's start with that. Give us a high-value overview. What is a 4-point inspection?
Okay, 4-point inspection is basically what the insurance want to know is what their risks are, which is the roof, the plumbing, the electrical, and the structure, heating and AC, because those are the biggest claims that the insurance company have.
Of course.
So they want to know what kind of condition it is before they give you insurance.
And you, as the purchasing buyer, should want to know those things too.
Right, absolutely, because those will be the same biggest cost to you as well if you purchase the home.
That's right. And then on the flip side of that, if you are a seller and your house has some age on it, and you want this to be a seamless transaction,
Right.
it's good to know those things maybe in advance, right?
Right, oh, absolutely.
And then this way you're proactive on the sale.
Absolutely.
So it goes through quicker.
Right.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
it helps you, as the seller, really justify the price that you set for your home, and as well justifies for you as the buyer the offering price that you
Correct.
may give someone for a home that you're willing to purchase.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, so we're going to break those things down. We mentioned the roof. Okay.
Right.
So why is the roof so important for us to get that inspected in advance?
And that's because of the fact that, cost is definitely a big factor, and the amount of damage that a roof can cause inside the house, as far as with mold and mildew and those things. That's kind of like the protective coating for your whole entire structure.
Right.
So if that's weak, then everything else begins to become weak as well.
Exactly.
And from a buyer's perspective, obviously we're in Florida, it's hurricane season.
Right.
So, they want to make sure that the house is sound, it's safe, and, you would start at the roof and then,
Right.
work your way down. So that's
Absolutely.
imperative.
Yes.
Well, and we've even had some hooks, and I'm sure you can relate, some hooks when it comes to the roof. Challenges that as real estate agents that we run into for closings if someone's roof is a certain age or more. Is there a barometer for that, Calvin?
It is. What we're finding out that different insurance companies are, kind of set their own rules and stuff. At first, starting out before all these, hurricanes and things that were happening, you had the 25-year shingle.
Yes.
Then the insurance company reduced it down to 20, and then they reduced it down to 15.
Yeah.
And there's some talk that they're thinking about being able to reduce it down to 10 years.
Wow.
That's a big
so the
deal.
mitigation of risk is different, say, for a shingle roof than it would be for a barrel tile or a steel
Right. Yep.
roof
Yep.
today.
Yep.
I wonder if that's going to change the parameters on, we have so much new construction coming in. And
Right.
on the new construction, they're giving that 30-year warranty, which really is fruitless if it goes by the insurance company and you can't be insured. So, that becomes a gray area. So it would be nice if we could get consistency, but that is an issue. So on the 4-point inspection, does it actually go to the insurance company? I know the buyer or the seller is buying it, but this is what the insurance company is looking at, correct?
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So
Okay.
so they ask those questions, and they, of course we have documentations that prove the year along with the permit numbers and stuff like that, so the insurance company can see, what their risk factor are, because everything eventually do expire, everything into warranty do ends.
Do you find that what are some of the things, I guess, we think about age first and foremost of the roof, but is there something that stands out that you find is a high level risk factor that the insurance companies are sensitive to that we should think about beforehand?
Probably the shape of the roof also makes a difference with with that. Installing solar panels on your roof.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
And stuff, those are big cost factors to the insurance company, because of the fact that most insurance companies do not cover your solar panels.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and there is a lot of expense involved in removing.
Yep.
And then doing because it is a reinstall.
Right.
Not just for the roof itself, but also for the solar.
Correct.
If you're having that done.
Right. Exactly. And what we find out now, just based on history and what's going on, people are actually replacing the roof before the solar panels life expectancy.
Okay.
So if you got the panels installed 30, say 10, 15 years ago or 18 years ago, and you're still using it, but now your roof have expired, what are you gonna do now about the solar panels that you still got life expectancy on?
You're going to have to call your solar panel company out. They're going to have to remove the solar panels.
Right.
There's a lot of coordination
It is, because
involved.
the solar panels impact the structure of the roof, and then the insurance company says, well, we're only looking at 10 years. So if you're going to add the panels and your roof already has past the life expectancy,
Yep.
so you're saying people are actually adding the new roof, doing the solar panels, so at least timing-wise and permit-wise, we're good.
Yeah, you have a longer time period. But what we find out, some people are kind of getting the solar panels and putting it on an older roof. So you have a roof that maybe have 5 years life, but you have a solar panel that still has a 20 and 30-year life.
Exactly.
So you're paying double.
Yes, because you will have to, because the uninstall and reinstall is not cheap on those panels.
Right. No, it's not.
Just a heads up, so
Right.
those are things that you want to budget in to what you're going to be doing when you're making those plans. So
Right.
if you know that you're building and you have any inkling that you're wanting to do solar, don't wait if it's a brand new home. Do it all together.
Right. Yes,
Simultaneously.
that's the best time to do it. At least you got the longest life expectancy of the solar panel
Exactly.
that you can extend.
So
Exactly.
what is the biggest thing that you do see on the roofs when you expect them? Is it water leakage? Is it mold? Is it infestation, or just needs repairs?
Definitely water leakage.
Water leakage.
yeah.
with all this rain.
nail heads popping, exposed heads.
Okay.
And then we get shingles that are missing, and loose shingles, stuff like that. Is what
Well,
we-
and then sometimes goofy things pop up. Like I know we had our roof replaced most recently this year.
Right.
And the thing that we didn't realize is the initial roof that was put on the house, when they installed the gutters,
Right.
they literally they did an install through the gutter,
Oh.
with something weird with the gutters and the roof shingles. So now it was we couldn't just replace the roof without replacing the gutters at the same
Right.
time because
Yeah.
of the way they were installed.
Oh, okay.
Compounds.
So
Yep. Exactly. We see that all the time too as well.
Okay.
And so you now have to replace both.
And,
Yeah.
and that whole area is obviously crucial because, insurance is another whole topic, which we spoke about, but we could always revisit it because it's constantly
course.
changing.
oh yes.
Has the insurance company, or based on your opinion, what is the better roof? If someone's building, what would be the preference? Is it metal? What do you
Right.
think?
I would probably go with metal roofing.
Metal, okay.
But there's different qualities of metal roofing. You can get the roof that has exposed screw heads
Okay.
and what have you. To me, those screw heads
rust waiting
eventually,
to happen.
Yeah.
they eventually,
Yeah.
those are eventually areas that
Right, you
leak.
can have a design up there.
Right. So you got 20,000 screw heads sticking up with a rubber gasket that's just holding, keeping
Oh, yeah, that's not well.
keeping water
The
out.
water will just run to
Right.
find that.
Right. You got the expansion, contraction.
Okay.
With the exposed screw heads.
Of
So
course.
it's a metal roof, but it's going to be, a good one that you're going to think about.
Right.
you know.
Yeah, if possible, I would go with the metal roof, and I would go with seamless. So
Seamless,
right,
okay.
and therefore you don't have any exposed nail heads, screw heads, or any of
Right.
those things.
And that in and of itself seems to have longevity in comparison to the others from an insurance.
Right,
Right.
absolutely, absolutely. If
And
you were
that
to
will
talk
protect you with the hurricane
Right.
season.
Now, I know we're going to move off the roof and we're going to talk about electrical systems.
Okay.
Because I think specifically here in St. Lucie County, for example, we have a lot of homes that were built quite a while ago.
Right.
And so they all have specific boxes within their garages.
That's it.
For their breakers. Can we talk a little bit about that and why that's so important today when you're purchasing a home that has been on the market or has been built maybe 20 years plus back?
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So as far as an inspection goes, we see a lot of people that are do-it-yourself electricians.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And insurance companies understand that, and they know that people are going to try to add an outlet here, outlet there, and stuff, and because of the fact that with YouTube, everybody's YouTubing, and it makes it look simple. And stuff. So people are going in that panel box and mess with the wires, and they're not doing it according to code. They think it's simple. They're not thinking about code or anything like that, and they're just hooking things up
And
any
that's-
kind of way.
That's the
Right.
risk
And-
for future fires
Oh,
and things of
absolutely.
that nature.
Yeah.
Such a detriment.
Which is why the insurance company wants photos of
Yes.
that panel box.
That's
They want
right.
to see. They
So
want to see if
the
just
panel
anybody.
box should always be inside the house. I seen a house recently that we toured, and the panel box is outside the house on one of the walls.
Right. Yeah, we see that all the time and
Really?
stuff. Yeah, and it is. You can still you might get the master breaker panel box on the outside, but then your sub panel, which is where you control the entire rest of the house, that's usually on the inside, or we see it on the inside of the house as far as new construction.
Okay.
And that's really the best way. If you can get that main, that sub panel on the inside, then have the main on the outside beside the meter for access for utility companies and stuff like that.
Of course.
That's
Okay.
why they have
Yeah,
the outside.
okay, maybe that's it.
Well,
Master.
a lot of people are not aware. I mean, we've talked about the do-it-yourselfers, and some people say, well, why is that such a bad thing?
Right.
Well, ultimately, it may not be a bad thing if the person's really good at what they're doing. But there are permitting requirements for electrical that have to be done. And if you haven't done those things and you're putting your house up, you may have some difficulty selling the house, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you want
Yeah.
to make sure it's to code.
Right. Absolutely. And stuff.
So
'Cause
go ahead, sorry.
yeah. No problem. No. I mean, because you think about it. How comfortable would you be if I tell you that I wired your whole house for you? And,
Not so much.
And I use YouTube to get it to
Yeah.
do it.
Yes, exactly.
You
Exactly.
gotta.
We all
Don't
think-
make me
Yeah.
nervous.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
We all become experts off of YouTube.
Right. No. You
No,
sure.
no, we don't.
You can learn, but not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you do the electrical, does that include the appliances, or is it just all the outlets?
Yeah, that's the main breaker, and we do check the GFIs,
Okay.
and we check randomly the outlets and
Okay,
stuff.
Okay.
good.
For as far as the 4-point,
Yeah.
Okay,
and
good.
document that.
Are you running into homes that you find, for whatever reason, don't have GFI outlets?
Oh,
where they
yes.
should be?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
and where should those outlets be?
Those definitely in all your wet locations. As far as
Okay.
you have an outlet that's one GFI outlet that controls the outside
Uh-huh,
outlets along the house. Bathrooms definitely,
of course.
and garages and kitchens.
Okay.
And stuff, and that's usually where we find it. And then we have ACF breakers that controls the bedrooms.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and that's in the main panel box.
Okay.
Okay.
And so if you have those in those locations, then you're pretty much up to date as far as
Okay.
code.
Good.
Are you seeing, when you go inspect a lot of houses, are you seeing like a whole bundle of wires and all these things connected, and they're changing it to their cell phones, and
Oh yeah.
so do you have to worry about an overload when you do that?
Right, and we find overloads all the time. And so
Okay.
we normally see overload would be considered a double tap where you got more than one wire per breaker.
Okay.
yeah.
And that's definitely common because, like I said, people, assume that this breaker right here can be used for the other half of the house, and some
Yeah.
additional outlets in the house is working, but that can cause a fire, overheat of the breaker,
Oh, yeah.
cause things to fail faster,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
and what have you.
Yeah, because we all have like 5 things plugged in, at least in the bedroom.
Right.
And so what are some things specifically that you personally look for when you're looking at electrical systems on this 4-point inspection?
Wire size, breaker size, double tap those things like burnt wires.
Gotcha.
Definite age, the brand of the breakers, because there's recall breakers
Oh, yeah.
and stuff. So we look for that. Also, in our documentation, the insurance company's looking at our photos too for the same thing. You know, because they can zoom in on those photos that we send them, and tell or point out something that perhaps we. That we might say is okay. They might say, we don't like that.
That's this type of breaker
Yeah.
box. It is obsolete. It
Yeah,
needs to be switched
recall.
out.
We pretty much keep up with it, but sometimes things change where something wasn't on recall list. Recall comes in.
Yeah, that's
they realize
important,
that
the recall.
and now that's a recall item that it wasn't recalled at first, so they can see those, go back and see those pictures and say, okay, I want to re-inspect.
What would you say is the most common recall that you see out there?
Probably we definitely know Challengers stay
the
blocked.
Challenger
Yeah,
buttons, yeah.
definitely Challengers stay blocked.
Okay.
And then home with fuses. Fuses still,
Of course.
definitely.
Okay.
I don't know very many insurance companies that, want those. There's some, but.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a couple of other areas we're going to cover in that 4-point inspection area, but we're going to take a quick break for about 2 minutes. We have a lot more to talk about. We're going to cover those 2 areas when we return. Are you looking to buy, sell, or lease your commercial property? Do you want to sell your business? Do you need a property manager? The Jeremiah Barron and Company commercial real estate experts have managed over $1 billion in commercial real estate transactions. Our agents focus on each client's specific needs to deliver results. For more information, visit treasurecoastcommercialrealestate.com. Located in St. Lucie West, Barron Academy is a private school that caters to students with autism and other unique needs. Barron Academy hosts grades K to 8, offering paced lessons and smaller class sizes guided by a passionate team of experienced educators. Curriculums are tailored to each student's abilities, which builds confidence while nurturing learning. For more information, visit exceptionalacademymypsl.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Bucket List. I am the co-host, Rebecca. I am with Tammy, and today we are still with Calvin Johnson. So we're going to continue our topic on a 4-point inspection. We already ran over the roofing. We're on electrical. So I do have a question on that one. So when you look at the outlets, in your home or you're showing a house, and the outlet is burnt out, what does that mean? Or if you plug it in, it sparks and then it gets all burnt out?
That's overloaded circuit.
Okay.
And what have you. Sometimes the actual item that you plugged into it can definitely cause that, but will be something we definitely say, hey, replace that. Go ahead and replace it
course.
outlet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that makes sense, and especially if it's not a GFI, because the GFI would have just kicked off.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's a little bit more sensitive.
Perfect. Okay. So our next topic is plumbing. So what are you looking at as far as plumbing?
All right. As far as plumbing, definitely your water heater.
Oh, yeah.
All the connections on your water heater. We're looking at the age of the water heater. We're looking at what type of pipes that are connected to it. Whether you got copper, CPVC, PEX, polybutylene pipes. All those sorts of things. Also, cutoff valves. Make sure that it's easy, that there's a valve where you can easily turn the water off from the top of the tank.
Okay.
And a pressure release valve. Make sure you have that. And also the tubing, so that if in an event that it fails, that you won't get scorched when you're trying to turn off the water to the hot water tank and stuff. So we definitely.
We had it once. Sorry, the water heater actually exploded.
Yeah.
It just exploded. So, is there a life expectancy that the insurance company or homeowners should be looking at, or buyer sellers?
Yeah. Well, we pretty much go off of the manufacturer warranty and stuff, and you can buy a tank that's 8 years, 10 years, 12.
Right.
But 12 is usually probably about the max and the average.
Okay.
And what have you. Insurance company will still insure you, but they realize that you're definitely past the warranty and you're definitely a higher risk now
Right.
because of the fact that
They're
you're
going to price you out
Right.
based on that.
right. Absolutely. So they look for that. They look for the actual date stamp of the water heater that's written there, and you know.
And that is another thing that requires permitting for install. So you
Right.
so if you have to switch it out, it's all great that you can find out how to do it on YouTube.
That's right.
You know, because you can find out how to do anything on YouTube today. But there's permitting involved for the install. It's going to save you money in the long run if you just get it done by the professional.
Right.
And then also to periodically, I mean, I ran into this issue with my own plumbing, and where we had an install done, and we had it for a couple of years, and I happened to walk out to the garage, and I looked over at the top of the unit,
Right.
and there was obviously something going on with one of the pipes where it was like leaking down the side of it. Like I saw a rust spot.
Right. Yep.
So I was a little freaked out by that because I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And I immediately went in and, you know, got my husband to say, I think we've got a problem.
Yep.
So we changed some things out, changed the piping type
Right.
with the plumber that came out. But it's just, you know, keep your eyes on those things. You don't think about that stuff. You're like, it's only 2 years old. What could go wrong?
Right. Exactly. And we could see it premature rust at the first after the first year.
Oh, sure.
Well, how could you protect it though? Because most of the water heaters are in the basement, a garage, excuse me, and it's not necessarily air conditioned.
Right. And it don't have to be in the air conditioning, but you definitely want to look at, you know, go over to that corner and look at that water heater from time to time. You know, once a year, 6 months, it's not bad. Well, when it's installed in the attic, that's a little different story.
That's right.
But that, to me, it could definitely be one of your maintenance and stuff, or something that you can schedule us to come out and inspect,
right.
because, you know, you're not gonna. Most people don't go up in the attic. Most people don't like climbing ladders and stuff, and it'll be a good idea for us to have that inspected, because imagine that much water from your ceiling coming down. That's gonna be a
And especially if it's a slow leak thing and it runs.
right.
Yeah, it'll
Because
just
you
travel.
could damage the whole ceiling in your house and
You
not
sure
even
can.
realize it.
You sure
Is there monthly? I mean, is there yearly or monthly maintenance you would do? Like with the AC, you're going to change the filter. Is there anything we should do on the water heater?
Right. Yeah. They recommend, manufacturer recommend to drain the water, and you know, because of the fact you get sediments from the water sitting in the bottom of the tank, and that causes the heat elements to fail prematurely because of the.
Well, that's good to know. I didn't realize that.
Me
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Me too.
and stuff. So it's definitely good if you can. But most people replace their water heaters or look to replace the water heater when they see it fail
Oh, sure.
after the leak.
What about there's a local community that they have issues with the when the community was built, the pipes are all underneath, so it ends up they explode, the tile, the whole floor of the house comes up, and it's because they're rusting. So is there now? I'm assuming we're using different piping, but there's no way to prevent that
Right.
because it's just an older inventory home.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Once the copper pipes are laid in underground and unprotected or protected and they burst, it's a big mess.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so-
It's definitely a big mess. And
Well, and we saved probably the most important thing for last, right?
absolutely.
To talk about in that 4-point inspection. We're in Florida.
AC.
It's hot.
It's hot.
It's really hot
99
right now.
yesterday it reached
Yeah.
out in the island.
yeah.
So we're going to talk about heating and AC. Although the heating side of it we might use for 2 weeks at a time here in our area.
Yep.
Don't even turn it on.
Yeah.
Right.
totally.
Yeah. We haven't turned ours on
Yeah.
quite.
You turn it on to make sure it works.
That's it.
Yeah,
You
I
turn
never
it
have.
off.
Yeah.
So what are some things specifically when you're testing heating and AC? Why is it so important to do that prior to purchasing a home?
Because most people don't realize that you can have people are buying homes and they don't have the heating part of the AC.
Oh yeah, that's
So
true.
so when you go out and inspect and the person says, "Oh, we got heat and AC," no, they only installed the AC unit. They didn't put the heating elements in.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that. I thought
that is real
And they
big.
discover it sometime in January when it's
But it's
30
like-
degrees outside.
That's it. They go and turn it on and discover it. Oh, this unit didn't come with a heat.
Yeah, that's
We're in
true.
trouble.
That's right.
Right.
And we find that a lot because of the fact that a lot of times people that are initially having a house built or they buying a house and stuff like that or replacing the unit, they looking at costs. They say, well, to have both heat and AC. You know, if could I save $100 by
Yeah.
not putting heat in there, because we don't turn it on. We never use it. So they'll save whatever money on putting the heat and
Save it.
AC and just get the AC sometimes.
When you're
And-
looking at the inspection, do you look at the size of the system compared to the house?
Yeah, yep. We make sure that matches the square footage of the house, the year that it was installed, the brand, the recall. You know, if there's a recall, because everything has a recall sometimes. The drain line, thermostat. You know, we check the safety, the drain pan safety switch,
Of course.
the safety switch on the AC itself.
Of course.
And all those are pictures also that the insurance company get to see. So if your unit, was shut off, if it automatically overflows or the drain backs back up, is the unit going to shut off? All those things play a cost factor in your insurance as well.
Right. Well, and you bring up a very good point in talking about all 4 of these items that we've talked about today, and that is pictures.
Right.
Like, just so people can understand, when an inspection is done, the guy's not just walking around with a pad and taking
Right.
notes and then whatever he says goes.
Right.
He's got to be able to back up what he's seeing.
Right.
So-
Absolutely. Yeah. No more take this guy at his word anymore.
That's
'cause-
right.
Yeah, sure. 'Cause show me the proof.
Well, and that helps the seller, it helps the buyer.
Right, it
helps
does.
the insurance company, so it kind of keeps everybody at an honest, even keel, right?
Right.
Well, it tells the story because, you have the trained eye to see stuff that we don't.
Right.
So it's nice to be able to tell that story and,
Oh,
and
sure.
have a baseline, but to me, the AC is the most important out of all 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, especially now,
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. And all those are big ticketed cost items
Sure.
Yeah.
to the homeowner and to the insurance companies.
Right.
And so
So-
yeah.
Well, and it helps to, it really can be to your advantage if you get a really good inspection.
Right.
And things are working the way they should be. That's going to be to your advantage in that inspection. You're going to probably have a better rate on your insurance,
Yes.
more
Right.
likely, because the inspection was done right the first time. So when someone goes to do this inspection, do they just do this at the time that they're buying, or? what
Right.
is-
We recommend at the time of buying, when you're renewing your insurance, when your insurance requests it,
Oh, of course.
age of the house,
course.
all those things are pretty much factors that would kind of justify having a 4-point done.
And would
Okay.
you do it for a pre-sale?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes doing it for the pre-sale can have you offer the house to the right person. Because if you got a person that's tight on finances and you got a 20-year-old AC, that's going to be a major
Expense for them, yes.
right. And it could be where the expense could be right as soon as they move in.
Oh, yeah.
Where as soon as they move in, the unit fails. And now you got to,
Yeah.
you
Now
just,
they got to call up Rooms to Go and say, I need to cancel my account.
Yeah.
yeah,
holder."
absolutely. And you
That's
got
a big
a $6,000 bill,
That's
and you
right.
haven't even used the unit yet.
That's right.
Yeah,
And-
especially for
and-
first-time home buyers or
Right.
veterans, we want to put them in a good place.
Right, exactly, and get people the information so if they realize that the unit, 8 years old or something like that, they realize they only have a few more years to go before they can budget for that.
Now, what is an average cost for a 4-point inspection for clients? I mean, based on house size, I'm imagining.
Right, yeah. So on average, it's 150. Sometimes it's $100, depending on how you group it together with other
Of course.
inspections and what else we're there for.
Of course.
But I would definitely say 150 is definitely a good, fair
Okay.
market price to do a 4-point inspection.
Okay, fantastic. Good
No,
to
that
hear.
makes sense.
Good
Yeah.
to hear.
And it saves you thousands.
It does.
It saves you thousands. 150 saves you thousands.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause
Those-
really,
those are
that's-
good percentages.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That's
The return on
inexpensive.
investment is very, very high.
And
Yes,
that's
yes,
the
it
key.
is. Yes, it is.
So it makes sense to be proactive
Well-
and get it done.
Right. Well, my hope is that people will want to reach out to Calvin
Yes.
and get their 4-point inspection done. Obviously, if it's something that you need to have done or your house is aged somewhat and you want to make sure, If you got any plans to sell the house in the next few years, that you're getting those things looked
Yeah.
at that need to be taken care of.
Right.
Right.
Before you sell. That way you can maximize the potential of what you'll earn on the house that you're selling as well.
Right, and plus the insurance renewals, especially if that's such a hot topic, you want to make sure that if you can get a discount with the insurance because of the inspection, you want that to go.
Absolutely.
Right,
Yeah,
and that's
so-
one of the biggest things. Sometimes a person would go and replace the water heater, replace the AC, replace those things and what have you, and they don't call us, which meaning that they miss out on those now credits
The
that
discounts,
the insurance
right.
because the insurance companies don't know unless you tell them,
Exactly.
and a 4-point report tells them. So if you get a new water heater, call us so we can
Right.
so we can send that information to the insurance company to
course.
Yeah,
to
people think
lower
they're
your
saving money in the front end,
right.
but it really is costing money.
Right, yeah, because you're losing out on discounts, and the insurance company would like to give those things to you if you have those.
Well, we certainly want to make sure that we help Calvin's phone ring.
Yep.
So the best way to do that is to have you share the number that they
Okay.
can reach you.
You can reach us 24 hours a day at 772-224-5655.
And then you also have a website?
Yeah, got a website too as well. It's called VCITA It's VCITA homeinspection.com.
Yeah, so certainly reach out. If you have questions for myself or Rebecca,
Yep.
you can reach out to me as well. My number directly is 772-579-9536. Again, with Journey Adventure Travel and Tours, as well as Barron Real Estate.
So my contact number is 203-482-7297, and I am with Barron Real Estate, and be kind, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining
Thank
us.
you,
Calvin.
Thank you, Calvin.
You're welcome.
Thanks.